full tragedy part of the 1985 Vision and Scarlet Witch family life story actually came after the miniseries itself in the pages of West Coast Avengers, which is where it's revealed via Scarlet Witch's original magic teacher, the literal witch Agatha Harkness. A lot of people think Catherine Hahn's nosy neighbor character is actually going to turn out to be the MCU version of her, FYI, that she had not created the kids by magically combining her own life force with Vision's synthezoid DNA. Don't think too hard about it, since, it didn't happen anyway.
That just raises further questions!
But had willed them into existence as an illusion of pure dark magic that only existed under her own subconscious concentration, i.e. they disappeared whenever she's not around or sufficiently distracted, which she is not supposed to have been able to do, but could in this case because the situation was being manipulated by Mephisto, who is, could have been...
Satan!
I should probably mention that the dark hell magic being involved is eventually the fig leaf of logic by which writers were able to retcon the twins Tommy and Billy back to life decades later as having been reincarnated as teenage superheroes Speed and Wiccan. The rest of that would take more time than I have here to explain, so moving on. Then in 2004, Wanda remembers her kids and goes crazy was used as the inciting incident for Avengers Disassembled, which ended the original version of the Avengers and kicked off the entire 21st century Marvel Universe event storyline cycle, including New Avengers, Illuminati, House of M, Civil War, World War Hulk, Secret Invasion, all of it. Like even that thing where Spider-Man made a stupid mind-erasing deal with the devil, that was part of this too. The whole thing. Oh, also House of M was the one that established she can create an alternate universe or multiverse if she wants to. Okay, time to finally explain some of this? Sure, let's take a shot. So in 2004, when Marvel decided they were going to totally overhaul the Avengers comic book concept from an A-list of B-listers club of superheroes who hang out in Tony Stark's cozy guest house, they were not Marvel's Justice League at that point, because Marvel didn't have a Justice League, because Marvel heroes are all weirdos with anxiety issues who keep to themselves mostly, and that's why all the teams are random, theme-specific, or blood relatives, and turn them into a slick, elite fighting force comprised mainly of characters we own all the licensing rights to and are about to make movies out of, and also popular characters everyone likes who operate from Tony Stark's kick-ass skyscraper. The big end of one era, beginning of another final boss for the occasion ended up being Scarlet Witch remembers all that disappearing baby stuff and rips apart the fabric of the universe. The next Scarlet Witch related story after that was a behemoth maxi series called House of M, wherein Wanda attempts to save herself from the decision by some of her former colleagues that she's now too dangerous to exist by transforming the entirety of reality into a utopian alternate timeline where everyone she knows will be happy because all of their fondest wishes come true there. Kinda too many to name all of them, but like Spider-Man is popular and beloved by the public there. Mutants are so accepted by regular humans, they venerate them as a superior overclass, to the point where Magneto and his family basically run the show, hence House of M. Carol Danvers is Captain Marvel for the first time in this universe, whereas at this point in the real world, she was kind of in a bad place, and this is the comic origin of her eventually cleaning up to do that for real. It doesn't work out, of course. Grass is greener, monkey's paw, careful what you wish for. You know how stories about witches go.
Oh, foul accursed thing! What demon from the depths of hell created me?
Now, is this where WandaVision is going with it? I don't think exactly that, but there is a lot to suggest in the trailer that there's some kind of monitoring or observation going on, and maybe that one or more of the characters are not in control totally of what's happening around them, and I wonder if deliberately evoking the medium of watching TV shows specifically is meant to reinforce the idea that maybe one or more of the characters inside what is definitely not actual reality, seemingly, are being kept track of in a literal or figurative sense by some other outside presence. Like in a more conventional drama franchise, an obvious guess would be, oh, one of these people is in a coma and we're watching them fight back through layers of unreality to consciousness, and maybe other people are monitoring their progress, but I'd assume something more fantastical is the case here, even if it's still like a Marvelized version of that. Seems like a pretty clear tell that the series will be doing a Scarlet Witch creates a fake happy ending alternate universe storyline, and that it's probably not going to end well for her, because these things never, ever end well for her. And the fact that the series will shortly be followed on the release schedule by Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, in which she's scheduled to be a supporting character, leads me to ask the following question. So, firstly, on the scheduling shifts here, this is no longer the case, at least on the shortly, because thanks to COVID-19 f***ing up everyone's good time, Doctor Strange 2 got bumped quite a bit ahead, and now several MCU films and series will open between this and it, one of which is the yet untitled Spider-Man 3, which, well, if you haven't been keeping track of the known unknown surrounding that one, is all but openly confirmed to also be a multiverse-related story in one fashion or another, in which hero and villain actors from previous cinematic incarnations of Spider-Man are expected to appear in an unknown capacity, as are Doctor Strange and potentially also Scarlet Scarlet Witch, with Kevin Feige himself reiterating at the most recent Disney investor presentation that WandaVision's story leads directly to the events of both Spider-Man and Doctor Strange sequels. So if that's the case, and both of these are about mucking around with alternate dimensions and timelines vis-a-vis multiverse business, that sounds to me like I might have been right about my most out there guess. What if what they're not saying yet is that WandaVision is going to end so badly for the title characters that Wanda isn't just the co-star in Doctor Strange 2, she's the villain? I mean, incidentally, regarding why specifically Wanda's psyche broke down in the comics, Multiverse of Madness is kind of an awkward title, but it's also an acronym. Okay, I mean, I don't really have much more to add onto this part, other than I kinda hope I'm not right about that in this case, because lady goes mad because mom feels and too much power is a trope that's really easy to do badly, but also, I mean, if I did call it, I called it, so yeah. Now, the fact of Doctor Strange 2 being a multiverse story, Spider-Man doing multiverse stuff after Into the Spider-Verse already kicked that particular door open once, and WandaVision apparently leading into both of it, raises a few more other tangential things that could be whole segments in their own right, but they don't really meaningfully connect into WandaVision, which was the main focus here, so that'll be for another day. But there was one more coda from the original video that I want to touch on. A lot of the post-Phase 4 build already being set up has involved younger people as superheroes as opposed to the mainly middle-aged heroes of the first three phases. Hawkeye is about Clint Barton training Kate Bishop, Miss Marvel is a teenager, so is Spider-Man, and they've alluded to Cassie Lang getting her father's giant man powers a few times already, so maybe following Dark Avengers in Phase 4 with Young Avengers in Phase 5, and then, like, New Avengers in Phase 6, or maybe Avengers Reassembled would be the most logical second Avengers trilogy. Okay, that Dark Avengers in Phase 4 bit right at the beginning was a reference to a thing earlier in the original video that isn't relevant at this moment and we really don't have time for. But yeah, I continue to feel like Marvel Studios, both doing a teenage and or young person superhero team and using the Young Avengers branding, regardless of whether it's based much at all on the Young Avengers books or not at some point in the near future, is a really safe bet. It makes a lot of sense from a business standpoint in general, and it looks a lot like something you'd plan for by specifically having young female versions of Hawkeye and Iron Man, both getting entire series to introduce them. Miss Marvel already set up to move to the big leagues after her first season, even bringing up the weird twin storyline in WandaVision. Seems like maybe loading the bases for Speed and Wiccan. There's a few different youth heroes you could naturally pop in as guest stars for She-Hulk, and there's even talk of Eli Bradley, aka the Patriot, turning up in Falcon and Winter Soldier. That one will probably need its own whole thing if so. And, you know, I hope that's the case, because I hope that these things are both good and successful, because, you know, frankly, folks, the episodes like this are a lot more enjoyable to do, and I hope more enjoyable for you to watch than the ones where we stare off into the existential abyss about politics and the future of the world and mankind. Anyway, WandaVision is scheduled to begin on January 15th. Let's see how this goes. I'm Bob, and that's the big picture.